Ever get that feeling like you're onto something? Like two ideas that seem completely different might actually be deeply connected.
Oh, I know that feeling well. Like when you're reading and suddenly you see a pattern, a link you hadn't noticed before.
Exactly. And that's precisely what we're diving into today. We've been getting a lot of questions about Kundalini energy and how it might relate to the concepts in the Law of One.
Yeah, it's a fascinating combination. We've got these ancient yogic and tantric texts like Lia Yoga, Kundalini Tantra, and Kundalini, the Arousal of Inner Energy, all exploring the nuances of Kundalini.
And then we have Ram in Law of One, talking about the evolution of consciousness, these different densities of existence, and you can't help but wonder, could there be some connection?
Right. So today we're going on a deep dive. We'll start by unpacking Kundalini from the perspective of these traditional yogic texts, and then we'll see if there are any interesting parallels or points of resonance with what Ra describes in the Law of One.
We're looking for those hidden connections, those threads that might weave these seemingly separate concepts together.
Exactly. So let's start with Kundalini itself. When you delve into these yogic texts, it becomes clear that Kundalini is more than just a dormant energy at the base of the spine. It's presented as this incredible driving force behind our spiritual evolution.
Yeah, and Lia Yoga makes a really interesting point early on. It suggests that all those different manifestations of Kundalini, whether in the root chakra or anywhere else, aren't actually separate entities. They're different aspects of the same fundamental force.
It's like facets of a gem. Each one reflects light differently, but it's all coming from the same source.
Perfect analogy. And then there's the concept of prana. It's not some separate energy, but rather the active expression of that coiled up Kundalini potential.
Right. Laya Yoga actually describes prana as the energy that forms our mind, our life force, even the physical matter around us. It's the dynamic counterpart to that still potent energy of Kundalini.
And that intricate chakra system we often see depicted, those beautiful diagrams, they're not just symbolic, are they?
Not at all. Laya Yoga refers to it as the yantra, the actual blueprint of how prana operates within us. These energy centers and the channels that connect them, the nadis, they form this complex network. It's like our own internal energy map.
And it's within these chakras that we find all sorts of latent potentials waiting to be activated. And it's not just spiritual stuff either.
Mm.
Laya Yoga suggests these powers can manifest physically, mentally, even as what we might call superpowers.
Right. Think increased strength, enhanced mental faculties. It really expands our understanding of what Kundalini awakening might entail. But remember, Laya Yoga also emphasizes that underlying all this dynamic energy is a core, stable force. That initial coiled up Kundalini acts as the foundation for all of this expression.
It's like the root system of a tree, providing stability and nourishment for all that growth above ground.
Exactly. Now, Laya Yoga outlines several paths for those looking to connect with and awaken this Kundalini energy. There's Raja Yoga, which focuses on centralized thought and spiritual reflection, Mantra Yoga, using the power of sound vibrations, almost like Kundalini in its sonic form, and Hatha Yoga, working with physical postures and practices to revitalize the body and mind.
And within these paths are all sorts of techniques. Pranayama, or breath control, is key. And different stages of pranayama are often marked by physical signs.
Right, things like sweating, trembling, even levitation are seen as indicators of that inner energy awakening. It's the energy becoming more tangible.
And then there's pratyahara, which the tantric tradition defines very specifically. It's not just withdrawal from the senses, but a very deliberate step-by-step process of focusing the mind inwards towards those subtle energy centers, all while the breath is held.
It's about cultivating a profound inner focus. And ultimately, as Laya Yoga describes it, the aim is union yoga between our own individual spirit and the supreme spirit. This happens in a state called samadhi, a profound level of superconsciousness.
And the process is fascinating. Kundalini absorbs these fundamental creative principles as it ascends, and ultimately unites with Shiva, symbolizing supreme consciousness, in the Sahasrara chakra at the crown of the head.
And in that union, the opposing energy currents of prana and apana are balanced, even the breath is suspended. It's complete merging.
Now, Kundalini Tantra offers a slightly different but complementary perspective. It defines Kundalini as this latent potential force located at the base of the spine, the Muladhara chakra.
And it makes this really interesting parallel between the awakening of Kundalini and activating those dormant areas of the brain.
Untapped energy in the body, mirroring untapped potential in the mind. It's powerful imagery. But Kundalini Tantra also emphasizes the importance of preparation. Asanas, pranayama, kriya yoga, meditation, all of these are crucial for being able to handle the intensity of awakened Kundalini.
Especially gaining mastery over the mind. It's about building that solid foundation. Now, while Kundalini Tantra acknowledges that the precise location of Kundalini might vary,
Based on past lives or even the spiritual practices of one's parents, it's pretty interesting.
it is. But the traditional understanding generally focuses on the Muladhara as the starting point, and it specifically mentions Kriya Yoga as a set of practices designed to facilitate this awakening.
Then we have Kundalini, the arousal of inner energy, which gives us even more specific details about the practices. It highlights the integration of pranayama with physical postures, mudras, mantras, and bandhas, all working together to help maintain those postures and enhance concentration.
And it provides vivid descriptions of the chakras. The Muladhara, with its 4 red petals, associated with the earth element and a powerful seed sound. Then there's Manipura at the solar plexus, with 10 blue petals and the fire element. Contemplating this chakra is said to grant knowledge of the physical organism.
We also have Vishuddha at the throat, with its smoky purple petals in connection to the ether element, governing the principle of sound. And finally, the Sahasrara, that 1,000-petaled lotus above the crown.
The meeting point of Kundalini Shakti and Shiva, a realm transcending all planes to what is called the Mahabindu, or the void. It encompasses all sound frequencies and sensory experiences, truly the center of quintessential consciousness.
Now, this text beautifully describes the ultimate aim as self-realization, viewing Kundalini as a microcosmic unfolding of Shakti, or cosmic consciousness itself. It also references the Yoga Upanishad's organization of the chakras in relation to the elements, starting with earth at the feet and ascending to ether at the crown. It's a step-by-step process, moving through different energetic and consciousness states.
It's a fascinating journey of inner transformation.
So we've talked about Kundalini as this potent force for spiritual evolution within these yogic and tantric traditions. But the big question is, are there any connections to what Ra describes in the Law of One? And there's some thought-provoking parallels. Ra talks about a large spiral of light being drawn into the apex of a pyramid, with a foundation semi-spiral supplying prana. It's hard not to see a connection to the concept of prana as that vital energy so closely linked to Kundalini.
Definitely. And Ra emphasizes the importance of balance between love and wisdom for spiritual progress. When we look back at Lia Yoga, we see this idea of a purified and illuminated mind being necessary for samadhi. And Kundalini Tantra stresses managing the mind before even attempting to awaken Kundalini. This recurring theme of mental and emotional balance really seems to echo Ra's concept.
Right, so maybe this balance that Ra talks about could be related to the harmonious flow of Kundalini through the chakras. Maybe it's about aligning those heart and third eye centers. It's an interesting connection to consider.
Definitely. And this idea of balance between love and wisdom really comes up again and again. Lia Yoga tells us that in Raja Yoga, it's centralized thought combined with spiritual reflection that leads to pratyahara and those higher states. It's not just about raw energy, it's about focused discerning energy.
It's like, yeah, we need that energy, but we also need the wisdom to guide it, to use it for something meaningful.
Exactly. And then there's dhyana, that deep state of concentration. Kundalini Tantra talks about both sarupa and arupa concentration, meaning concentration with form and concentration without form.
So it's like integrating focused awareness with a more expansive, unbounded understanding.
Precisely. And the ultimate aim of all of this is samadhi, that state of unified consciousness where even the breath can be suspended. Lia Yoga describes it as a state where desires and thoughts cease, leading to complete oneness with the Supreme Spirit.
Wow. Now back to Kundalini Tantra. It really emphasizes the importance of mental and emotional preparation before attempting to awaken Kundalini. This isn't just a physical process, it's deeply connected to our inner landscape.
Absolutely. It even mentions specific practices like tritaka, or focused gazing, as a technique to sharpen concentration and awaken the Ajna chakra, which is often associated with intuition and wisdom.
And then there are other techniques for cultivating inner balance, like focusing on the location of the lower chakras, practicing the Ashwini Mudra, and chakra anusatthana, which is systematically rotating your awareness through each of the chakras.
Even kriyas like Shabda Sanchalana and Mahamudra involve coordinating the breath, mantras, and awareness on specific chakras. It's all about creating harmony within.
It's a holistic approach. You're working on all levels, physical, mental, and energetic.
Precisely. Now, what's fascinating is that Kundalini, the arousal of inner energy, explains that the deities associated with these chakras aren't just mythical figures.
Like Rudra in Manipura or Sadasiva in Vishuddha.
Exactly. They represent different aspects of consciousness, different energetic principles. It's another layer to understanding the energy system within us.
Okay, so bringing this back to the law of one,
Okay.
Ra talks about disciplines of the body having to do with the balance between love and wisdom in the use of the body in its natural functions. It makes you wonder, could these yogic practices we've been discussing, like asanas and mudras, be part of that balance Ra's talking about?
Right. Could these practices, when done with mindful awareness, help us cultivate that very balance that's necessary for both Kundalini awakening and our overall spiritual evolution? It's worth considering.
Totally. And remember how Ra mentions that the indigo center is super important for spiritual adepts? That's often associated with the third eye chakra.
Yeah. But Ra also says that imbalances in the lower centers have to be cleared first, seriatim from red upwards. This sequential clearing process really resonates with the yogic idea of Kundalini rising through each chakra.
So it's like you need to have each chakra open and balanced for the next one to fully activate.
Exactly. It suggests that a harmonious flow of energy is crucial for opening that indigo or third eye chakra, which is associated with wisdom and deeper perception.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Okay, so let's shift our focus to what we might call the gateway to infinity, the Sahasrara chakra. Lia Yoga describes it as the final destination of the Sushumna, that central energy channel. It's where Supreme Bindu resides, and it's connected to a void part in the Tulunala, which supports all the other nadis.
And within this void in the Sahasrara, we find Parama Shiva in union with Kundalini. Their role is to dispel the darkness of unspiritualness and delusion.
It's like a state of pure clarity and liberation. Lia Yoga even describes a nectarous ocean within the Sahasrara, containing an isle of gems and a wishing tree. It represents a realm of infinite potential, of complete unity.
Beautiful imagery. And ultimately, Lia Yoga talks about the absorption of Kundalini into Parama Shiva in Asamrasnata Samadhi, a state that transcends mental consciousness.
Wow. Now, Kundalini Tantra echoes this by linking the chakras to the higher unillumined centers of the brain. It suggests that as Kundalini ascends through the Sushumna to the brain, it causes this explosion of awareness.
Like those dormant areas are suddenly blossoming.
Exactly. And Kundalini, the arousal of inner energy, describes the Sahasrara as this lotus of the thousand petals above the crown. It's the meeting place of Kundalini, Shakti, and Shiva.
Holding all potential sound vibrations, harmonizing all the senses, and the center of pure consciousness. It's where we transcend limitations and polarities are integrated.
So, tying this back to the law of one, Ra mentions that the large spiral of light is drawn into the vortex of the apex of the pyramid. Could this apex be referring to the Sahasrara chakra, that point of highest energy concentration?
It's definitely an interesting parallel. And Ra also mentions a bridge between space-time and time-space that's achieved when the magical personality, which is essentially invoking the higher self, is properly invoked. So could a fully awakened and balanced Kundalini reaching the crown chakra facilitate that connection to higher realms, or to what Ra calls intelligent infinity?
I mean, it does suggest a possible path to expanded awareness.
Right. And finally, Ra talks about the harvest as entities moving into the fourth density.
It makes you wonder, could the opening of the crown chakra and achieving unity consciousness through Kundalini be a personal microcosm of that larger shift to a higher vibrational state?
It's a fascinating thought, but as we've mentioned, the law of one doesn't explicitly link Kundalini to the fourth density harvest.
Right, it doesn't say it outright, but it definitely opens up the possibility and invites us to contemplate those connections.
Absolutely. So to quickly recap, we've explored Kundalini from the yogic and tantric perspectives as this powerful evolutionary energy leading to higher consciousness and ultimately union. And we've looked at the fourth density harvest and the law of one as a shift in planetary consciousness.
And it's important to remember that neither set of sources explicitly links Kundalini awakening to the fourth density harvest. There's no direct causal relationship stated.
Right. But we have seen some intriguing parallels. The raising of vibration and consciousness through Kundalini could be a form of preparation for a potential shift in density.
And the emphasis on balance, particularly between love and wisdom, in Kundalini practices, might align with the principles of positive polarity that Ra talks about.
And the opening of the crown chakra and the experience of unity consciousness in advanced Kundalini practice could be seen as a personal reflection of a larger shift towards greater interconnectedness.
But remember, these are just potential interpretations, possibilities to consider as you explore these ideas further.
Exactly. It's about using this information as a springboard for your own insights.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, we've explored the yogic understanding of Kundalini as this transformative energy that activates the chakra system and how important balance is to the process. We've also considered potential connections to the concepts of higher densities and shifts in consciousness found in the Law of One.
And as you reflect on all of this, maybe the question to ask yourself is, what personal practices or inner explorations resonate with you? What feels aligned with your own unique journey of learning and growth? We encourage you to continue exploring these profound concepts.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.